SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide is just over 3 months away, and what better use of our time than to dive in to the sequel to the acclaimed Battle for Bikini Bottom game. Now, real quick before we get into this, again, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We have just shot past 7.1 thousand subscribers. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Now, let's get into this video. When SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom dropped all the way back in 2003, it wasn't really hyped up like a big franchise-defining game. It was just another licensed platformer. Except, it was not that at all. For a lot of us, that game quietly became a staple of our childhood, and it had no business being as good as it was. It had tight control, surprisingly expansive levels, a ton of fan service and references to the game without being overbearing, and a tone that nailed SpongeBob's absurdism and the comedy without feeling like it was just trying too hard. It wasn't a perfect game, though you could argue no game is, but it was memorable in a way most licensed games could never even dream of. It's why, for years, people still booted it up, hunted spatulas, and laughed at the goofy cutscenes. It's why speedrunners have kept it alive 22 years later. Modders breathed new life into it, and why the 2020 remake Rehydrated even happened in the first place. The remake was a perfect remake, and it was proof that the core design still worked almost 2 decades later. And it left Purple Lamp Studios in a very tricky spot. The fan base wanted more, but more is very dangerous territory. We've seen it happen before. A beloved remake gets a sequel and either loses its identity entirely by chasing trends, or it sticks far too closely to the old formula and it feels just like reheated leftovers. So, in 2023, the Cosmic Shake arrived. Not as a direct continuation of BFBB's plot, because let's be honest, that was never the point, but as a spiritual successor, a sequel. And the thing is, it's exactly what it needed to be. Not just a follow-up, but the follow-up. At its core, the Cosmic Shake understands exactly what made BFBB work. The movement that is very satisfying, levels that feel like playgrounds that you want to go and explore, and a tone that feels authentically SpongeBob, not an imitation. Purple Lamp didn't try and reinvent the wheel here. They polished the wheel. They took the wheel and made it feel and look just a little bit better. The jump feels familiar. The slap attack that has the same cartoony impact still feels great. The bubble mechanics return, but now they're tied to a broader set of moves. You still feel that same laid-back, cozy, I'm here to explore, not just race to the finish vibe, but here's the genius of it all. Instead of splitting the spotlight between SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy, they gave all of the focus to SpongeBob. At first, to me, and to a lot of people, that sounded like a loss. BFBB had variety through multiple characters, right? But in reality, this decision let the devs build SpongeBob into the most versatile, capable version of himself that we have ever controlled. In BFBB, SpongeBob had the bubble bowl, the cruise bubble, a basic attack, and a double jump. Very basic for a 3D platformer. It worked, but it was, it was basic, which is fine. But in the Cosmic Shake, the moveset grows as you progress, and each edition changes how you approach the platforming. You have the karate kick, the pizza glide. What a brilliant callback to that iconic episode. It's absurd in the absolute best way. The bubble surfboard. While used pretty limited, a timed platform you can spawn midair, it opens up creative traversal, and it gives that satisfying, I pulled this off feeling when you can chain it between jumps. And then you have the seahorse riding, which I was kind of shocked. It doesn't handle the best, like the controls for it aren't the greatest, but the fact that it was there at all really made me happy. It was just such a fun, unique moveset. You have everything that SpongeBob had in BFBB, but it's just expanded upon here. The beauty in these moves is how they work together. You're not just pressing a button to do a cool thing. You're thinking about how to blend them together. Glide into a kick, land on a surfboard, bounce up, fire bubble at a switch, and then glide again. It's flow-based platforming. I didn't even talk about his dodge. You have a dodge in this game, which is such a welcome addition to this moveset. Now this is where the Cosmic Shake really pushes beyond the boundaries set by Battle for Bikini Bottom. The levels are no longer just SpongeBob locations with objectives. They're themed wish worlds, as they're called, each one built around a full SpongeBob what-if scenario. Kind of an Elseworlds story in that sense for my comics fans out there. And because each world is a self-contained fantasy, Purple Lamp could go however they wanted. Way weirder than BFBB ever did. The Wild West Jellyfish Fields, Pirate Goo Lagoon, Prehistoric Kelp Forest, Medieval Bikini Bottom. It was awesome. The variety isn't just visual here either. The gameplay shifts in ways and it makes each world feel that much more distinct. There's no filler level where you're just doing the same things on a different skin. It's structured so that each world feels like its own little SpongeBob episode, complete with the setups, the gags, the payoffs, and the close-ups. My gosh, the close-ups are so funny. Not to mention all the costumes. If you're an avid SpongeBob fan like I am, you will absolutely love the costumes and all of the references that are hiding in those costumes. SpongeBob has so much variety here, and you can tell that there was so much passion and so much care put into this game. BFBB had big open maps with collectibles everywhere, but sometimes the pacing slowed to a crawl if you didn't know where to go next, which was fine. The Cosmic Shake, though, leans more linear for the main run, which keeps the story and action moving and progressing. It's not too linear. Once you unlock new costumes and abilities, you can revisit worlds to find hidden secrets and stuff that you just couldn't find before. And the collectibles, instead of spatulas or shiny objects, you're chasing doubloons, coins, and cosmetic unlocks, as well as the jelly, but the golden spatulas are still there. Costumes aren't just a menu toggle either. They're integrated into the game's theme, and they're all deep cuts from the show, kind of like I said before. It's fan service, but it's fan service that you earn. It's not just slapped in your face so they can say, "Oh, look at this reference, look at this pretty SpongeBob reference, buy our game." Not to mention, this game was only $40 on launch, and Titans of the Tide, which comes out in just over 3 months, is also only $40. Bosses were one of the weaker parts of BFBB. They were fun, absolutely they were fun, and they're iconic, but they are very simple. In the Cosmic Shake, each major world ends with a boss that feels tied to its theme and mechanics. A karate showdown with Sandy, a massive sea monster fight, a medieval duel. They're more dynamic, but they're still not, fantastic boss fights by any stretch. They're still very basic 3D platformer bosses, which is completely fine by me. These boss fights make use of your full moveset, and like I said, they're not Soulsborne hard, but they're engaging enough to feel like big payoffs for each of these distinct wish worlds that you visit. Talking about the presentation and the humor for a sec, this game looks like SpongeBob. The rehydrated art style has been improved drastically. The character models are a lot more expressive without looking too plasticky. The environments pop with color, and there's more detail in the small props and the background gags than before. The cutscenes have the same bouncy, fast-paced energy of the show's golden years, and they don't overstay their welcome either. And the humor? It works because it's not trying to modernize SpongeBob into something he's not. No meme references, no edgy, stupid winks to the audience, just absurdity, wordplay, and physical comedy that could fit in a 2002 episode of the show. Even side characters like Bubble Buddy and Larry and the Flying Dutchman get moments that feel authentic and hilarious. Now, I know some of you probably saw the title and you're like, "Justin, this is not a perfect game." And I know. The Cosmic Shake does not replace Battle for Bikini Bottom, but it builds upon it. It understands the fun of these games isn't just beating levels, it's existing and playing in this world, in this tone, with these characters, and having a moveset that makes goofing off just as satisfying as completing the objectives. It respects its predecessor while taking just enough risks to make it stand on its own. And in an industry where nostalgia is often milked dry, this feels like the rare sequel that earns its place.